It's a great time to be alive as a boxing fan. The welterweight division always delivers. This year we had Garcia versus Thurman, Spence versus Brook, Pacquiao versus Horn, Mikey Garcia versus Broner, Porter versus Alberto. Mayweather came out of retirement to fight McGregor, who is the biggest star in MMA. Roberto Guerrero had his farewell bout. The list goes on. And that's just from the welterweight division. Errol Spence versus Lamont Peterson fight is an excellent matchup. Lamont Peterson was a United States boxing champion back in 2003, and although most people are picking Spence to win, this fight is a lot closer than most would think. Let's take a look at experience. Lamont Peterson is one of the most underrated welterweights in the game today. He's fought more higher caliber fighters than Errol Spence has overall. He fought Victor Ortiz to a draw, he had a controversial victory over Amir Khan, and he's even fought against Danny Garcia and Lucas Matisse. Although he did get knocked out by Matisse and also lost a close decision to Danny Garcia, who beat Matisse, he definitely did show improvement in his game over the years. He was fighting some of the highest global competition available, while Errol Spence was still competing as an amateur. I'll remind you guys that Errol Spence competed in the 2012 Olympics. Still, Spence has shown that he could dismantle more experienced competition whenever the situation arises. Take his last fight with Kell Brook, for example, who was the #1 welterweight according to Ring magazine. While offense is the most appreciated aspect of boxing, it can be one of the most obscure aspects to translate. Offense does not directly equate to aggression or power. In fact, accuracy, timing, savviness, and consistency are all equal components to boxing offense. For example, in one of the episodes of Neutral Corner, Lomachenko versus Sosa, Sosa was the harder puncher and slugger, but Lomachenko was putting the pause on Sosa offensively, using his slick movement, savvy combinations. We can even look at Floyd Mayweather Jr., who despite being the greatest boxer in history of the sport, is yet still an underrated offensive fighter from the casual fan, despite having the most accurate punch output in the history of the sport by a significant margin. In the realm of offense, I will have to give the edge to Errol Spence, and I said in Neutral Corner episode 5 that I believe that Errol Spence is the best offensive fighter in the sport today. Lamont Peterson is a great offensive fighter in his own right, but lacks the devastating knockout power that Spence has. Both are capable of throwing volumetric combinations, and Lamont Peterson is clearly the faster fighter. Lamont Peterson was even able to match Amir Khan in speed. Both fighters are excellent at attacking the body and mixing it up when it comes to throwing their combinations, but Lamont Peterson has a hard time going in for the kill, even when his opponent is gassed out. You can look at his fight with Danny Garcia, for example. Errol Spence, on the other hand, is like an avalanche. When he has his opponent in a bad position, his ability to string combinations is perhaps the most impressive I've ever seen. With him being able to put down his opponent with his back against the ropes, his combinations that he throws while backpedaling rivals that of Ray Robinson, James Toney, and even Floyd Mayweather the Great himself. He makes the right moves and throws the right punches at the right time when he's on the offense or has his opponents on the ropes. Spence is also widely considered to be the hardest puncher in the welterweight division. Plus, we also saw that Spence can handle fighters that are a tad faster and even worse, such as his more recent fight against Kell Brook. In the realm of defense, I want to give the edge to Lamont Peterson. However, I don't think it'll make the biggest difference in this fight. Peterson is definitely the flashier fighter. He does have better footwork and has displayed a better head movement than Errol Spence overall. But the problem is that Peterson doesn't necessarily use all these tools to win fights. Yes, he has great footwork, but he often stalls when it comes to his fights instead of being active enough. He's not somebody that we've seen win off the footwork and the jab similar to Mayweather or Pernell Whitaker. And yes, he has great head movement and is flashy, but that usually works against him in this scenario is that he's not the greatest counterpuncher, which is the bridge that's necessary to effectively win fights off of footwork and head movement. Nobody is questioning Peterson's ability to fight toe-to-toe, but I most strongly consider that Errol Spence will beat him in that regard. Plus, Peterson has a bad habit of giving away too many rounds by simply dancing around and not enough punching, which is also attributed to the fact that Peterson has been counterpunched effectively on many occasions. Errol Spence's defensive game isn't the best out there, but he can counterpunch and he has an excellent shell defense. Whether Errol Spence is fighting in the pocket or his back is against the ropes or he's in the center of the ring, he's dangerous. And he's excellent at deflecting shots from any kind of position. His defense isn't on the level of Mayweather or Pernell Whitaker's or even Lomachenko for that matter, but his defense is solid and effective, and very rarely throws combinations that put him in a bad position to get punished. Plus, Errol Spence can easily wall Lamont Peterson the same way Lucas Matisse KO'd Peterson in the early rounds. Now, with experience, offense, and defense considered, I believe that this fight will be a combination of Spence's fight with Kell Brook and Peterson's fight with Danny Garcia. I don't believe that Peterson will push the early rounds like Kell Brook did against Spence, but rather he'll dance and give away a lot of early rounds to Spence. And eventually he'll get caught up against the ropes a lot earlier due to Spence's aggressive footwork. Once Spence gets Peterson in a bad spot, once or even a few times, I don't think he'll have a hard time finishing Peterson. What Lamont Peterson has to do to beat Spence is fight a similar fight as Keith Thurman did against Danny Garcia. He needs to press the fight early on from the early rounds, move and try to outbox his Spence, use his flashy dancing moves to frustrate Spence, and then he needs to get on his bike in the later rounds and really fight off the jab, something that Lamont never really combines. But being that Spence is the best offensive fighter in the boxing today, in addition to being a sparring partner to Floyd Mayweather, the greatest fighter of any era, I don't see Spence having a hard time figuring out any defensive puzzle that Peterson tries to create. I have Errol Spence to win this fight by KO. One thing that saddens me about the combat sports community as a whole is that we don't ever really appreciate the current state of boxing for what it is. A lot of boxing fans, casual and hardcore, are very nostalgic. They always like to say the good old days of this and the good old days that. I'm going to use the Fab 4 era for example, where they claim that the best fought the best, which really isn't the case. Yes, it's true that 4 of the greatest fighters of that era did all fight each other, but that's more common now. The Fab 4 era, when Sugar Ray Leonard first fought Roberto Duran, up until the point where he fought Marvin Hagler, was a time span of 6 years, resulting in a total of 7 fights between those 4 individuals, and 9 altogether if you want to count the fights that Leonard had when he fought Marvin Hagler, which were with Tommy Hearns and Roberto Duran. To put that into perspective, this is the 9th episode of Neutral Corner. I've already covered 8 fights this year, which were competitive, which the fighters were fighting against the best, such as Alvarez versus Golovkin, Garcia versus Thurman, Spence versus Brook, as well as the upcoming fight between Vasily Lomachenko and Guillermo Rigondeaux. And that's not even all the biggest fights that happened this year, but I didn't get the chance to cover more. Plus, if you want to go back to the Floyd Mayweather era, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao fought 5 of the same opponents in the time span of 6 years, not including each other. People like to complain that Mayweather and Pacquiao fight took 6 years to make, but the same thing happened with Leonard and Hagler. At least Mayweather always fought the best in his division. Both Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran ducked Aaron Pryor, and Roberto Duran conveniently avoided fighting against Alexis Arguello as well. Sugar Ray Leonard admitted to taking many easy fights between his bout against other members of the Fab 4. If you don't believe me, you can check out Sugar Ray Leonard's book, The Big Fight. The link will be in the description below. Anyway guys, this is Neutral Corner episode 9. Don't forget to share this video, like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Don't forget to check out my other Neutral Corner episodes come 2018. I plan on releasing a Neutral Corner episode every week if I can. This is your boy, Barmesis, the self-proclaimed king of kickboxing. I will see you guys next time with Neutral Corner episode 10.